I'm going to have to go Hydra again today. I'm going to have to go red. Lockdown day 29, people. And today I'm vexed. I'm vexed because it seems like, and I've talked about this subject before, it seems like people are putting wealth before health. And the rush of this to end this social distancing right now, when we're in the middle, and let's get this straight, we're in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. And I use the word middle not lightly. We had the beginning where all the infections started blowing up, and there's now 2.5 million people worldwide infected, and that's the ones we know. Yeah, the number is probably 3 times that amount. I wouldn't be surprised if the number was somewhere around 10 million. Their natural antibodies have just fought it off, so they're not really feeling that many effects. So those people think that they're okay, and then they go out and then they do everything that they do and talk to people, or they're in shops, or they touch things, and then other people touch those things and then touch their face, and guess what? They're infected. And that's the silent problem here. The silent problem is you might think that you're fine because you haven't got tested and you haven't got any symptoms, but you might just be a carrier because your body is dealing with it in a way that other people's bodies aren't. So you might think you're okay, but you're not, because what you're doing essentially is you're carrying that virus to other people whose bodies won't be able to deal with it. And thus, that's where the problem is. That's where we are right now. So when you see people buckling under the weight of unemployment, buckling under the weight of businesses closing down, America and quite a few countries are under a lot of pressure now to try and relieve the laws on social distancing. I've heard 3 beaches in Australia have opened up. There's news Germany are going to loosen restrictions. Spain, last week I talked about loosening restrictions, and they are still in the thick of it. I just don't understand what's going on. This rush, you're causing the second wave. This isn't a thing where, the second wave was supposed to come about where we was flattening the curve and things were going on a downhill trend, and then we had some normality and things were getting quiet for a few weeks. That is when you start to relieve the stress and the tensions and the laws on social distancing. That's when you start to open up various shops. Not now. Not while people are still trying to deal with the rush of the virus, and not while hospitals are still filled to the brim and don't have any beds. You don't do it now. Because here's the deal. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear slammed a patient who tested positive after attending a coronavirus party for people in their 20s. So America's just continuing to ignore the social distancing after the population has been told to stay at home. This is what's going to cause a problem, guys. And this all comes down to the commander-in-chief, yeah? Kentucky itself saw the biggest spike in coronavirus cases after the anti-lockdown protests. Now, these protests was because Donald Trump went out and told people that they should fight for what they believe in. He's talked about Virginia, about their gun laws, the restrictions there, and he's told people that they should go and fight for what they believe in. Protesters now are calling to end the lockdown restrictions and a demand to reopen businesses with unemployment levels in the state rising. And what happened here is, on Monday, there was a spike in 293 positive coronavirus cases in Kentucky. That's the highest single day total of the state, which means that we're going back into this highly contagious point, which we've just tried to get away from. And remember, guys, 1 person infects 3, 3 people infect 9, 9 people infect 27. That is all you need to get the ball rolling again. So if you've got 293, that's going to turn, times that by 3, so that's going to turn into 900. Then you times that by another 3, that's going to turn into 2,700, and then you've got a whole big thing going off again. Why? 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 All you needed to do, social distancing was working, guys. The reason why the curve is flattening is because most of us, not all, most of us are at home. Yeah? That's why it's flattening. Not because of some miracle, or because of some immunity drug, or because someone's just came over and made it better. It's flattening because we are staying at home and we're practicing social distancing. So if you get rid of that, what do you think's going to happen in the next 7 days? I am absolutely lost for words. The stupidity of it all. And again, what do you expect? It all comes from the top. If your president and commander-in-chief is saying these things, then look, that's where we are. And I just talked about how sensible female leaders were around the world and how they were flattening the curb and how their response to social distancing was impeccable. And then we get idiots like this who just come out and say the most foolish things that cause that cause absolute pandemonium among states. I dread to see what happens in the next 7 days. This is a disaster waiting to happen. Well done, Donald Trump. Congratulations. Take a bow. You're an idiot. We know that Trump has been talking about this wonderful drug, hydrochloroquine. And this is a treatment that he's saying is going to help the coronavirus and COVID-19. Now look, here's the truth. He can't seem to stop talking about hydrochloroquine. There's absolutely no proven treatment for COVID-19 at the moment. There is none. All this drug is going to do, all these words coming from Trump is going to do, is it's got people to rush out and go and buy it. And who does that favour? You guess. I'll let you take this one. I'll let you take this one. Who does that favour? Who does that benefit? It benefits his friends on Wall Street and top pharma, big pharmaceutical companies. It favours them because the amount of money that they are earning from people who are buying this useless drug, which is only fit to treat malaria, it's got nothing to do with COVID-19, nothing to do with a cure, nothing to do with an immunity. But listening to this guy has made you fools run out there and go and buy something which is completely... That's like me going and telling you to run out and go and buy spring water. Spring water has no use for COVID-19 whatsoever. But the fact that I've told you it is makes you go and run out there and buy it. So spring water sales is going to spike through the roof. And all you're benefiting is the companies that sell spring water. I mean... The fact that some people can't think for themselves is just unbelievable. I don't even know where to begin. Anyway, on a positive note, did you guys see the ESPN Netflix Michael Jordan Last Dance show? And this is really about the 1996-97 season after they had won 5 titles and how things just capitulated, you know. Michael Jordan has one great quote where he's like, I don't understand why they're trying to get rid of the head coach. We're winning. Why are you trying to break up a dynasty? You only do that when teams are losing. You only make those moves when teams are struggling. Why would you come in and put a new general manager in who breaks up everything, who went and he told Phil Jackson, and these are the words, it doesn't matter if you win 82 games and go unbeaten. This is your last year. Why would you do that? Why would you break up a dynasty that's just come off 5 world titles? World titles. In America, it's only ever world titles, isn't it? It's like if you win the Premiership title in the UK, you're the world champions. I mean, who does that? Only in America will you say that the winner of the Super Bowl or the winner of the NBA or whatever are the world champions. Yeah, only in America. But why would you tell a manager, a head coach, who's won 5 titles in the last 7 years, that this is your last title? Why would you do that? God, we're living in this world right now and I'm struggling to make sense of it. And you guys wonder why I put the red Hydra badges up on days like this. Yeah? Because me vex. I don't understand the thinking behind some people. And this guy who was in charge, he was a nobody. He was a guy who was completely ignored, down talked to, and never respected by any of his friends at school, at college, or whatever. This guy was just a nobody. So he's come in to get a big position with a team who were just blowing up the NBA, And he thinks by throwing grenades left, right, and centre, you're going to get something done. Really? Really? Look, the documentary was brilliant, and I applaud you guys to go and watch it. It's only 2 episodes out now, but it really goes to show you some of the things that we didn't know about Michael Jordan. I love the fact that it went into high school. It shows you why he was having issues there, what led to him going to North Carolina. It talks about the last shot in his freshman year that he took when James Worthy had created all that space for him, and nobody was marking Michael Jordan. Nobody actually believed that he could make that 18-foot jumper, that perimeter shot that he's renowned for. And when he buried it, it changed things forever. Also, the fact that Chicago, everything was going through Chicago Blackhawks, NHL, the Cubs, and the White Sox, and everything was going through the Chicago Bears, and nobody was going out to watch the Chicago Bulls. They were showing panels where people were paying $5, $7 to go and see a Bulls game. Yeah, Obama even talked about not being able to afford the cheap tickets. Yeah, because he was studying. Yeah, he was studying. But guys, they had a local football team, soccer team, that was getting more crowd than the Chicago Bulls basketball team. Imagine that. A local soccer team were pulling in more of a crowd than Chicago Bulls were doing for basketball. And when Jordan came, there was 2 things that stood out to me really in the documentary. The first thing was when Michael Jordan said he was invited to, actually I don't think he was invited, he was walking past hotel rooms when the Bulls players were up in a hotel. And he was noticing how quiet it was, and he knocked the door, and he heard the people behind the door go, shh, who's that? And when Michael said it was them, they was like, oh, come on in, rookie. And when Michael Jordan walked in there, and remember, this is a small town boy who's just come to a big city, and he's got one thing on his mind, yeah? Mamba mentality. He's got one thing on his mind, and that's winning, keeping himself in shape. He wasn't drinking at the time, yeah? He was eating well. He was focused on his jump shot. He was just practice. And all these guys, he walked in there and he saw lines. He saw drink. He saw women. And he took one look at that and he wondered to himself, no wonder why this team is losing. No wonder these guys aren't taking it seriously. And he walked back out, and then he became a loner. He wanted nothing to do with that. And I remember the part that they showed which really done it was his 3rd game as a rookie. His 3rd game when they were playing Milwaukee Bucks, a team that they could never beat. And they were losing. And they were losing at halftime. Not badly, but they were losing. And the coach talked to them like the game was over. He was like, okay, so what we have to focus on the next game is... And Michael was like, what are you talking about in the next game? We still got a half of basketball to play. We still got a half of basketball. We're only down by 9. And you guys are talking about this game's over. He took the game by the scruff of the neck. And he put in a performance time and time again where they could not stop him. They had one of the best defenders on him in the NBA, and they could not stop this guy from scoring. The Bulls won the game, and that's when 2 things happened. One, the fans realized that they had a winner, a leader, a rookie in his 3rd game. So the fans started coming back. They started flooding the games and the stadium again. And the team players realized that not only is this guy the real deal, but he's the best player on the team. And he's serious. And if we're going to stand any chance of winning, it's going to be with him. But part 2 really defined the success of the Bulls. Part 2 defined the fact that Michael Jordan, in all his glory, the best player in history, could not win championships unless he had his partner in crime, Scottie Pippen. Remember, the Bulls didn't start winning until Pippen was in the team. Yeah, they were competitive when Michael was drafted, but it wasn't until Scottie Pippen joined the team that they were winning championships. And that's the real deal. But I loved the fact that, you know, if you look at the steals total for these 2 guys, they were dominant. They were the best combo backfield for steals in the NBA. Defensively, people talk about offensively. It was defensively where they would just shut you down. Now let's remember, Pippen was a 6'7" swingman who was guarding point guards. And let me remind you something, yeah? Isaiah Thomas, John Stockton, from my Jazz. These were 6', 6'1" point guards. Pippen was 6'7", and he was guarding. He was flanking, blanking out point guards. And it made you wonder why they were so dominant. They were shutting teams down from scoring. They were shutting teams down all over the board. And I remember one time, and this wasn't featured in the program, I'm just remembering it off memory. I remember one time when the salary cap in the NBA was 40 million. And Michael Jordan was getting paid 34 million. He started complaining about getting paid. And he wasn't the only one. Horace Grant was as well. They were like, when am I going to get a contract? When am I going to get a contract? And Michael Jordan turned around to them and said one thing. He said, if you want to get a contract, you can go to another team. If you want to win a championship, then you're going to stay here. And when you win a championship, your name will go down in history. That's what Jordan said. And he was 100% correct. And you know, the guys on that team were making pennies in comparison to Jordan. But you know the one thing that they were doing? They were winning. And really, it's a lesson for everybody who's... it makes you wonder when you see the likes of Kobe Bryant, when you see the likes of why he was so chiseled on winning, why his tunnel vision, the goals that he wanted to achieve in life. Why was that? And that was because the guys like Michael Jordan came out and did what they did. And another thing as well, you know, I remember Jordan playing with so many players. But Jordan playing against the likes of Larry Bird and Magic, and those are the things that I remember and I respected. And that's what I loved about the series. And we've got no sports here to watch. There's no sports. So it was just nice to actually watch basketball again. It really was nice. The fact that I was sitting down watching basketball again, that was something in its entirety that I really loved and respected. But guys, listen, check that out. It's on Netflix right now. It's called The Last Dance, and get on it straight away. And that's it from me, guys. I know it's a Hydra video, but I just wanted to finish it with a lighter tone. But that's it for me, guys. Hashtag stay home. Hashtag with me. Peace. I'm out.